Hi everyone, it's Chris again from Bite Size Tech. I am back with another video and this is a teardown guide video. Today I'm going to guide all of you on how to open up your 13-inch variant Lenovo 320s in case you want to upgrade your SSD or replace your old battery and etc. So what I have is the 13-inch variant and the guide will only apply for the 13-inch variant. So please take note and do not use this guide for the 14 or 15-inch variant if you have those variants, because the internal layout are very different. You will only need 3 things for this teardown. The first is a Torx T5 screw bit which looks like a 6-edged star. Second, you will need a normal cross Phillips screw bit with a 2mm diameter, just relatively small. The T5 Torx screw will only be used for the outer casing, and the rest of the internals will use the normal Phillips cross-shaped screw bit. I will recommend that you guys just buy a tool set that costs less than $20 for this teardown, as it will have every single screw bit that you need. So let's just go ahead and use the Torx T5 screw bit to open up the outer case. Please make sure to keep the screws neatly so that you know the order when you put things back together later on. So for the prying process, you will need some sort of pry tool like the one I have here. You need to apply pressure on the top right and the left edges of the laptop. Until you can see that the clip holding the base with the body detaches. Then you have to work your way from the gaps at the top side to snap every single clip one by one. When the clips are all detached, you can now remove the bottom cover slowly by yanking it left and right so that the cover can just detaches from the last few clips at the bottom. And you can now see the exposed internal, and the only thing here that you can upgrade is the NVMe SSD. The RAM itself is soldered into the motherboard and it is not hot swappable unlike the 14 and 15-inch variants. At this point, you can just easily swap the SSD by removing the small screw that holds it in place, but I will first remove the battery. Now the battery here is 40 watt-hour and it took about half of the body space of this laptop. To remove this battery, you have to disconnect the battery cable and then unscrew the 5 Phillips head screws holding it in place. Now that we have the battery removed, I will now remove the SSD. As for the speakers at the bottom, you have 2 units and you can just remove it by yanking it out of the holding pins after disconnecting the cable from the motherboard. Finally, we can try to remove the motherboard, but first, let's disconnect the display cable, the antenna, the keyboard, the backlight, and the trackpad cables. You can just disconnect it by flicking it up, placeholder will detach, and then you can easily pull out the cable. Please be careful with these cables as they can easily tear. Now take note to only remove the gray cables for the Wi-Fi card. It is connected to the screen, which we will have to remove later on for the teardown. After disconnecting the cables, we can now go ahead and remove the screws holding the motherboard in place. These are the shorter Phillips head screws, the same one used to hold the SSD. There is one hidden under the black thermal sticker, and these are different from the other Phillips head screws, which are a little bit longer. So in total, there are 7 long Phillips head screws holding the motherboard in place, aside from the 3 holding the metal bracket removed earlier. Before we really pull out the motherboard, we need to also remove the fans and the heatsink. Let's now pull off the motherboard. We have to pull it from the middle so that the motherboard can bend very slightly to give space for the ports, which are securely held by the frame. Now that we have the motherboard detached from the body or the frame, we can put it aside, but please be careful because there is a black antenna cable which is attached to the motherboard and the frame. Finally, we can remove the screen just by unscrewing the 4 black colored Phillips head screws holding it in place. Aside from the screen, there is nothing else that you can tear apart at this point because the keyboard and the trackpad of this 320s 13-inch is very securely held in place on the frame of the laptop itself by metal bonding pins, which I don't recommend you pull out unless you have a replacement frame. So I hope you guys found this guide helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below, and I will try to answer every single one of them. Remember, if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.